January 14th through 17th. Jersey Mike's be a sub above. Well, Nick Saban, according to a report, Bill O'Brien's the leading candidate to get the job. It's amazing how he has rehabilitated careers. Nobody wanted to hire Sark. Nobody wanted to hire Butch Jones. Nobody wanted to hire Lane Kiffin. Nobody wants to hire Bill O'Brien. Part of Saban's legacy is it's like a coaching rehabilitation center, man. He takes guys in. He takes big risks. I mean, nobody wanted Lane Kiffin. Nobody wanted him. Look what Sark just got, the Texas job. That's a top 5 college football job. So good for Sark and good for Nick Saban. He takes big swings and he changes lives. And with that, Andrew Whitworth, 15 years in the NFL, Rams left tackle. They go to Green Bay, joining us live. You were part of Nick Saban's first recruiting class. You didn't know who Nick Saban was, right? He wasn't Alabama Nick. He kind of, he hadn't done the NFL stuff yet. Did you think he was a little intense the first time you met him?
Very intense. I can remember being a freshman and showing up right when a meeting started one time, and that was the worst mistake I ever made. And I never forgot it. That's for sure. But I go way back in the tree, Colin. I mean, Adam Gase was my apartment roommate when I showed up at LSU campus, and Freddie Kitchens was also our other GA. So wow. I go way back in the Saban tree of coaches.
Why do you think, Saban is seen as a hard-driving guy, but he really does. I mean, I watched him last night. He's loved by his players, Andrew, and nobody drives his players as hard, but there is something about that team. And is Nick one of those guys, he's grumpier to us than real life?
Yeah, I really believe so. I actually think one of the funniest things about Nick Saban is people consider him this hard, tough coach, but the reality is he's the biggest players coach on the planet. He does a great job of making sure that the coaches are always under stress, and really the people who are working around the players are always under constant stress to be better, but that the players are his best friends and that they look to him for everything they do and everything they do in life and in football and everything else. He has a really tight relationship with them and really almost makes it like it's him and the players and then everyone else around.
I've heard that before. That's what they say. He's brutal on the coaches. He's great to the players. By the way, you're a left tackle. He's a defensive genius. Did he ever yell at you at practice?
He would get really upset if we picked up some of his blitzes or some of his Maka A, Maka B defensive calls on third down. We got to figure him out over the years, and we'd pick one up, and he would just be so livid that there's no way we would know that, and all these things. And, it was a constant battle with him. The thing about Nick is he loves you to jab right back at him. He likes that kind of mentality and demeanor, and he knows that you're a football player when you got a little fight in you. And so he would always love us getting in arguments over whether we should be picking up things or not.
I love that. I know Nick a little bit, and I do think he's got a great heart. I think he's got a little more personality. Well, he has to. He's a great recruiter, so he's got a little salesmanship in him. I've been around him. He can be funny. There's no question he can be funny. Believe it or not, Nick Saban can actually be kind of funny, right?
Oh, there's no question. He's a hilarious guy. I've got plenty of Rolodexes and Nick Saban stories that can get you going, but unfortunately, I can't share most of those publicly.
Okay, now you're come back from an injury. You're going to Lambeau. Are you concerned as a team? L.A., SoFi Stadium, now Lambeau. Has it been discussed?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a challenge to go on the road and win the playoffs anywhere you go. And cold weather is not fun for anybody. It doesn't matter who's playing in the game, and it makes it harder. It makes those hits hurt a little more. But I think that's really got more to do with just being tough and understanding the kind of style of football it takes to go win on the road. And, I just don't think that it's one of those things that teams should use as an excuse. I mean, you either just tough it up and go play tough playoff football or you don't. New Orleans is really successful in their dome as well. And it's not dome air that's causing people to lose. It's because when you play on the road, it's hard to win.
So as a left tackle, you played in Cincinnati in lousy weather for years. For you as a run blocker, and we expect Cam Akers to get carries, did you actually like a little colder weather? Do you think as a running team, it can be a benefit?
Yeah, because I think if you're a running football team, you've played tough physical football all season long to get where you are. And I think you welcome the challenge to go and try and run the football and play in nasty weather and what a difference that can make to your football team to be physical and play that style of game.
So John Wolford now, from what we understand, will start. Jared Goff's got the broken thumb. It was swelling. We see it on television. Your kind of takeaway, is it hard for you and the offensive line? New quarterback, New tempo, new style, little different game. Is it a challenge?
Yeah, I think anytime you change the quarterback, each one has a skill set that makes them good at what they do. And so you have a little bit of a different style that you may call plays with and understand what they're going to be good at and what they're going to do well in the game. So obviously during that game in Seattle, it was obviously a big change to go from kind of a guy who's going to move around a little more probably with your calls to going back to Jared. It's not necessarily that one's better than the other in the sense of play calls. It's just that it's different from the plan you had going in. And so obviously with Jared, we've won a lot of football games and we know how to play with him, but it is still a change in a game when you have to do something like that. So we look forward to having a little more, clarity as far as who's up and healthy and getting the opportunity to go to Green Bay and try and win.
For the record, the defense for the Rams is spectacular. It's been so smartly drafted on the back end. You've faced that defense at practice for years. What makes this defense better than 2-3 years ago?
I just think that you don't know what they're going to do to you all the time. I think that with the ability with Jalen Ramsey to kind of be on the field and Aaron Donald to be on the field, and you can place those guys that are two really special elite players in certain places that kind of make the defense have to understand if they're going to worry about those two guys, the rest of the schemes that you're going to apply is not going to make it easy for them to attack the other parts of the field. And those two guys kind of eliminate their spots. And then you see some young guys come up as playmakers, whether it be Darius Williams, whether it be Leonard Floyd, whether it be different guys on the defense and Jordan Fuller at safety who have come up and kind of made those kind of changes. And then you got a guy like John Zonson who's leading it all from the back end, who's just a tremendous leader, a tremendous player, and a guy who keeps it all organized. It really makes it tough to pick where's the spot of this defense that you're going to attack and think that's going to be your successful spot.
Couple minutes left. You have the third graded offensive line in the NFL behind Cleveland is one of the highest graded, and the Colts. Do you feel a little pressure this weekend, maybe using a backup quarterback, that the O-line will decide this puppy?